Testing. Testing, testing. Does it work? Yes. Welcome. Thank you so much for coming to this performance tonight at Grace. And my name is Patty Link, and I am going to sort of start the evening by memorializing, I guess, or remembering a really awesome Grace Youth volunteer. Judy Pernicki, whose husband is gone for another month, and her daughter and son live out of state. She was a dear friend of mine, and for probably, I want to say 15 or 20 years, made costumes for Grace Youth. So any of you who have ever had someone in Grace Youth dinner drama, she probably had a hand in your costume, and you probably really don't know that she was around. She and her husband, Mike, are members of Grace, or were members of Grace, and they had a son and a daughter, and their daughter, Liz, was very active in youth group. And about that time, my now 18-year-old was in a car carrier, and she taught me how to do costumes for Grace Youth. And so tonight we want to dedicate, in her honor, the costume room downstairs. And you can see to the left is her picture, and to the right is this plaque in my hand that says, Judy Pernicki, Hollywood Star of Fame, presented the Judy Pernicki Costume Room. And it has her birth date and her death date of last June. And I never got to go to her funeral because our youth group was on our way to France, and so we missed sort of saying what an amazing human she was to Grace Youth, and specifically to dinner drama. And there's two young women here, I think, who are directors tonight. She used to pull stuff out of the costume room that the kids fell in love with. And here are a pair of shoes that Judy gave to Katie and Jenna. And do you remember, do you want to say anything?
I just think that I didn't think I even wore these for a dinner drama. I think they were her daughter Liz's, and she just knew I was in love with them and wanted me to have them. And that's just who she was. She just was so sweet and wanted the best for everyone.
Yeah, I wear size 5.5 shoes, which are very uncommon. So she got these at the sale room at Von Mar for my costume. And I said, oh, at the end of the play, here you go, you can have them back. And she says, honey, I'm not gonna wear these. So I could take them, and I have used them ever since.
And I'm just going to finish by words that are not my own. They are someone else's words. But I think the best way to describe Judy is imagine going to the bakery and ordering a dozen vanilla cupcakes. And you reach your hand in and you get a confetti. And you're like, holy cow, this is the coolest cupcake in the box. And that was Judy. So here's to Judy and her killer costumes. So thanks again for coming, and I'm going to turn the mic over to Katie before I'm a mess. So thank you.
We're just going to leave those shoes right there in Judy's memory. So she's still with us tonight. Thank you all for coming. I helped to co-direct this year, and it was super fun to be back after 5 years. I graduated in 2017. So before we get started, I just wanted to say a few notes. First of all, happy birthday to Lori Hoffman, our wonderful chef. Happy birthday. Dinner drama always seems to fall on her birthday, and she never fails to make the most gourmet food for us. During intermission, please head to the Narthex for some yummy treats, and also silence your phones or off with your head.
Nothing to do. Once or twice she had peeked into the book her sister was reading, but it had no pictures or conversations in it.
And what is the point of a book,
Thought Alice.
without pictures or conversations?
She was wondering whether the pleasure of making a daisy chain would be worth the trouble of getting up and picking daisies when...
What was that? It looked like a... Well, after such a fall as this, I should think nothing of tumbling downstairs. How brave they'll think of me at home. Why, I wouldn't even say anything if I fell off the top of the house. What's this? A glass table and a key. But where would... Oh, a tiny door with a tiny keyhole. But how could anyone fit through there? Drink me. Well, it's all very well to say drink me, but I should check to see if it's marked poison first. No? Well then. Curious. It tastes like toffee nut, roast turkey, buttered toast, pineapple. Oh, I must be shutting up like a telescope. Oh, I do hope I stop soon or I might go out altogether, like a flame on a candle. There. Now I'm the right size for the door, but how will I do anything? I'm so small. Eat me. Well, I'll eat it. And whether it grows to make me get the key or small enough to slide under the door, I don't much care which. Dear, dear, how queer everything is today. And things went on just as usual yesterday. I wonder if I've been changed in the night. But if I'm not the same, the next question is, who in the world am I? Oh dear, I shall play. What was that?
Oh, my ears and whiskers.
Yoo-hoo, Mr. Rabbit!
Oh, my ears and whiskers. She'll have my head. Oh, she'll have my head.
Mr. Rabbit, come back, Mr. Rabbit! Mr. Rabbit! Come back, Mr. Rabbit! I didn't mean to scare you. Where am I? Curiouser and curiouser.
Serpent, serpent, serpent.
I'm not a serpent. Leave me alone.
Serpent, I say again. I've tried every way, but nothing seems to suit them.
I haven't the least idea what you're talking about.
If it wasn't enough trouble hatching these eggs, I must be on the lookout night and day. I haven't had a wink of sleep in these past 3 weeks.
I'm very sorry you've been annoyed.
And just as I had taken the highest tree in the wood, and just as I was thinking I should be free of them at last, here you are again. Ugh, serpent. Serpent!
But I'm not a serpent. I'm a...
Well, what are you? I can see you're trying to invent something.
I'm a little girl.
I've seen a good many little girls in my time, but never one with such a neck as that. No. You're a serpent, and there's no use in denying it. I suppose you'll be telling me next that you've never tasted an egg.
I have, certainly, but little girls eat eggs quite as much as serpents do, you know.
That I don't believe, but if they do, then they're a kind of serpent. That's all I can say.
I never thought of that before.
You're looking for eggs, I know that well enough. And what does it matter to me whether you're a little girl or a serpent?
Well, it matters a good deal to me, but I'm not looking for eggs, as it happens, and if I were, I shouldn't want yours. I don't like them raw.
Be off then, be off. Serpent, serpent, serpent.
I'm not a... Forget it. Well, I've never in my life met a pigeon as rude as that. Serpent. I'm not a serpent. But when I said I was a little girl, they all laughed at me. Oh, I don't even know who I am here. Am I still me? Who is me?
You. Who are you?
I hardly know, sir. Just at present. At least, I know who I was when I got up this morning, but I'm afraid I've been changed several times since then.
What do you mean by that? Explain yourself.
I'm afraid I can't explain myself, sir, for I'm not myself, you see, and being so many different sizes in one day is very confusing.
It isn't.
Well, maybe you haven't found it so yet, but when you turn into a chrysalis, you will someday, you know, and then into a butterfly, I shall think you will feel very strange, don't you?
Not a bit.
It would feel very strange to me.
You. Who are you?
And here we are, right back at the beginning again. I think you ought to tell me who you are first.
Why?
Had enough.
Wait. Come back. I've something important to say. Keep your temper.
Is that all?
No. So you say you've changed, have you?
I'm afraid I am, sir. I can't remember things as I used to, and I don't keep the same size for 10 minutes altogether.
Can't remember things like what?
Things like...
I see you've forgotten them. Recite your lessons from school. How doth look?
'Twas brillig and the slithy toves did gyre and gimble in the wabe. All mimsy were the borogoves and the mome raths outgrabe. Beware the Jabberwock, my son.
Stop. That is not said right.
Not quite right, I'm afraid.
It is wrong from beginning to end.
You see, I don't even know what I'm saying. Who am I becoming?
What brought you here?
A rabbit. A talking white rabbit with a waistcoat and pocket watch. But he ran off and I lost him.
Find the rabbit.
It can't be that easy.
It can.
Was that? Oh, it's him. I must go after him. Thank you, sir. Mr. Rabbit! Mr. Rabbit, come back. I didn't mean to scare you. Come back. Mr. Oh, you're not. I'm terribly sorry.
For the news, an invitation from the Queen to play croquet. From the Queen, an invitation for the Duke to play croquet.
You know, you really oughtn't open someone else's mail. It's really rather...
It is indeed an invitation for the Duke to play croquet.
What was that?
The script is most elegant.
That noise.
It's such fine paper, but then she is a queen.
What is happening?
Whatever is happening. The Duke. For me, for you, Your Highness.
I speak severely to the boy. I chide him when he sneezes. He only does it to annoy because he knows it teases. Wow, wow, wow.
Oh, please be careful, the baby.
Croquet. Another game of croquet with the Queen. Lucky, lucky me. And yet I can't very well say no, can I? I accept.
What? Oh, fine, Your Highness.
Wake up. What kind of footman are you?
What kind of footman am I?
Stupid.
I speak severely to the boy. I chide him when he sneezes, for he can thoroughly enjoy the pepper when he pleases.
Oh, please mind the baby. Pepper can't be good for it.
If everyone minded their own business, the world would go around a good deal faster than it does.
Which would not be an advantage. Just think the work it would make for night and day. You see, the Earth takes 24 hours to fully rotate on its... Oh, please! Be careful, the baby!
And I suppose I shall have to be dressed for a royal occasion as well. What a bother and a nuisance.
Cheshire Cat.
Oh, him.
Why does your cat grin like that?
Because it is a Cheshire Cat. That's why.
I didn't know Cheshire Cats grinned. I didn't know cats could grin at all.
You don't know much at all, and that's a fact.
I speak severely to the
Oh,
boy.
please! Don't you know any other nursery rhymes? That one is so horrid.
'Twas brillig in the slithy toves, and gyre and gimple in the way.
Wait a moment.
All mimsy where their bow grows, and the moans brass outwave.
I've heard that before.
Beware the Jabberwock, my son, the jaws that bite, the claws that catch. Beware the jub bird, and shun the frumious bandersnatch.
I don't think that's much better.
Or pepper.
You both ought to be terribly ashamed. Babies require tenderness and care. What sort of nanny are you? Pepper indeed. Don't grunt. That's not all a proper way of expressing yourself.
You may nurse it if you like. I must go get ready to play croquet with the Queen.
But what am I to do with? People come and go so quickly here. If you are going to turn into a pig, I'll have nothing to do with you. Mind now. Oh, dear. Very well. Well, hello? Cheshire? Puss? Well, it's pleased so far. Would you tell me, please, which way I ought to go from here?
That depends a great deal on where you want to get to.
I don't much care where,
Then it doesn't matter which way you go.
so long as I get somewhere.
Oh, you're sure to do that if you walk long enough.
What sort of people live around here?
Well, in this direction lives a hatter, and in this direction a March hare. Visit either you like, they're both mad.
Oh, I don't want to go about mad people.
Oh, you can't help that. We're all mad here. I'm mad, you're mad.
How do you know I'm mad?
You must be, or you wouldn't have come here.
How do you know you're mad?
To begin with, a dog's not mad, you grant that?
I suppose so.
And a dog growls when it's angry and wags its tail when it's pleased. Now I growl when I'm pleased and wag my tail when I'm angry. Therefore, I'm mad.
I call it purring, not growling.
Call it what you like. Do you play croquet with the Queen today?
I should like to very much, but I haven't been invited yet.
You'll see me there. By the by, what came of the baby? I forgot to ask.
It turned into a pig.
I thought it would. Did you say pig or fig?
I said pig, and I really wish you would quit appearing and vanishing so suddenly. You make one quite giddy.
All right.
Well, I've often seen a cat without a grin, but a grin without a cat, that's the most curious thing I've seen in all my life.
took his vorpal sword in hand, long time the maximum foe he sought.
So rest he by the totem tree and stood a while in thought.
And as an uffish thought he stood, the Jabberwock with eyes aflame
Came whiffling through the tulgey woods and burbled as it came.
1, 2, 1, 2, and through. The vorpal blade went snicker snack.
He left it dead, and with his head.
He went glumping back.
What is that? That poem, what is it?
Nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
It must be something.
Just a trifle I made up.
Gone like smoke.
'Twas brilliant and the slithy toad.
She just said,
No room, no room.
there's plenty.
Have some wine?
I don't see any wine.
There isn't any.
Then it wasn't very civil of you to offer it.
It wasn't very civil of you to sit down without being invited.
Your table is laid for a great many more than 3.
Your hair wants cutting.
You should learn not to make personal remarks. It's very rude.
Why is a raven like a writing desk?
Oh, come, we shall have some fun. A riddle. I believe I can guess that.
Do you mean you think you can find out the answer to it?
Exactly so.
Then you should say what you mean.
I do. At least I mean what I say. That's the same thing, you know.
Not the same thing a bit. You might as well say, I see what I eat is the same thing as I eat what I see.
You might as well say I like what I get is the same thing as I get what I like.
You might as well say that I breathe when I sleep is the same thing as I sleep when I breathe.
It is the same thing with you. Switch! Silence.
Take some more tea?
I haven't had any yet, so I can't take more.
You mean you can't take less? It is very easy to take more than nothing.
No one asked your opinion.
Who's making personal remarks now? What day of the month is it?
The 4th. Thank you.
2 days wrong. I told the butter wouldn't suit the works.
It was the best butter.
Thank you. It's quite enough.
Yes, but some breadcrumbs might have gone in as well. You shouldn't have put it with the bread knife.
It was the best butter, you know.
What a funny watch you've got. It tells you the day of the month, but it doesn't tell you what o'clock it is.
Why should it? Does your watch tell you what year it is?
Well, of course not, but that's because it stays the same year for such a long time altogether.
Which is just the case with mine.
The dormouse fell asleep again.
Of course, just what I was going to remark myself.
Have you guessed the riddle yet?
No, I give up. What's the answer?
I haven't the slightest idea.
Nor I.
I think you ought to do something better with your time than wasting it asking riddles that have no answers.
If you knew time as well as I did, you wouldn't talk about wasting it. It's a hymn.
I don't know what you mean.
Of course you don't. I dare to say you've never even spoke to time.
Perhaps not, but I know I have to beat time when I learn music.
Ah, that accounts for it. He won't stand being beat. Now, if only you kept on good terms with him, he'd do almost anything you like with the clock. For instance, suppose it were 9 o'clock in the morning, just in time for you to begin lessons. You'd only have to whisper a hint of time, and around goes the clock, twinkling. 1:30, and then it's time for dinner.
I only wish it was.
That would be grand, certainly, but then I shouldn't be hungry for it.
Not at first, perhaps, but you could keep it to 1:30 for as long as you like.
Is that the way you manage?
Not I. We quarreled last March before he went mad, you know? It was the great concert given by the Queen of Hearts. I had to sing, "Twinkle, twinkle, little bat, how I wonder where you're at." You know the song, perhaps?
I've heard something like it.
Well, it goes on in this way. Up above, the world so high, like a tea tray in the sky. Twinkle, twinkle.
Twinkle, 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 twinkle.
Well, I'd hardly get in through the first verse when the queen jumped up and brawled out, "She's murdering time, off with her head."
How dreadfully savage!
And ever since then, he won't do a thing I ask. It is always 6 o'clock.
Is that why so many tea things are set out?
Yes, and we have no time to wash things between whiles.
So you keep moving around, I suppose.
Exactly so, as the things get used up.
But what happens when you come to the beginning again?
Suppose we change the subject. I'm getting tired of this. I bet the young lady tells us a story.
I'm afraid I don't know any.
Then the dormouse shall. Wake up, dormouse.
I wasn't asleep. I heard every word you fellows were saying.
Tell us a story.
Yes, please do.
And be quick about it, or you'll be asleep again before it's done.
Once upon a time, there were 3 little sisters, and their names were Elsie, Lacey, and Tilly, and they lived at the bottom of a well.
But what did they eat?
Nothing but honey.
They couldn't have done that. They'd have been ill.
So they were very ill.
But I don't understand. Why did they live at the bottom of the well?
Switch!
Why did they live at the bottom of a well?
It was a honey well.
There is no such thing.
If you can't be civil about it, then you better finish the story for yourself.
No, please go on. I won't interrupt again. I dare say there may be one.
One indeed. So these 3 little sisters, they're learning to draw. You know?
What did they draw?
Honey.
But I don't understand. Where did they draw honey from?
You can draw water out of a water well, so why should I think you can't draw honey out of a honey well? Stupid?
But they were in the well.
So they were. Well,
Oh, I've had enough.
Then you should be done.
Excuse yourself.
Off with you.
Good afternoon.
Good night. Good luck.
That was the stupidest tea party I ever was at in all my life. And that poem again. Well, that's curious, but everything's curious today.
Watch out. Please don't take over me like that.
I couldn't help it. 7 jogged my elbow. That's right, 5. Lay off of it on others. You'd better not talk. I heard the Queen say only yesterday you deserve to be beheaded.
What for?
That's none of your business, too. Yes, it is his business, and I'll tell him it was for bringing the cooked tulip roots instead of onions.
Well, of all the unjust Excuse me. Would you tell me, please, why are you painting these roses red?
Why, you see here, miss, these ought to have been red rose trees, and we put white ones in by mistake. And if the Queen were to find out, we would have our heads cut off. So we're trying our best before she comes to...
The Queen!
Those are supposed to be red.
It's only the Duke.
His Highness.
His Highness the Duke.
That's right. Well, shouldn't you be preparing the grounds for the game? The Queen will be along any minute now. Well, now, you can't think how glad I am to see you, you dear old thing. How are you? What are you? Thinking about, I mean. What are you thinking about?
I was just...
You're thinking, I can tell, and it makes you forget to talk. I don't know what the moral of that is, but in a moment, I surely will think of it.
Perhaps it hasn't got a moral.
Tut, tut, child. Everything has a moral if only you take a minute to look for it.
What are they doing?
Preparing for croquet, of course. And the moral of that is, 'tis love that makes the world go round.
Someone once said it happens by people minding their own business.
Oh, it's much the same thing, don't you think? Do you know how to play croquet?
I know one way.
Well, this is the proper way, the Queen's way. Allow me to teach you, the royal way to play croquet. When I was just a tiny lad, as pretty as can be, my nanny sat me down one day just after royal tea. The time has come for you to learn, said she in her shrill voice, the royal way to play croquet. You simply have no choice.
The royal way to play croquet. Simply have no choice.
Someday you'll be a duke, child, my queer old nanny said. And if you play him properly, the Queen will have your head. But if you write these simple rules upon your head and heart, you'll always play the royal way. Now this is how we start.
You'll always play the royal way. Now this is how we start. Rule 1.
For your croquet mallet, child, not just any bird will do. The fluttery flamingo is the royal bird for you. Grasp it by the waist. Take care this comes as no surprise. The flamingo is notorious for pecking players' eyes.
Rule 2.
Pick out a fuzzy hedgehog. He'll be your ball, you see, unless that fuzzy hedgehog discovers something else to be. Take care to always tuck his legs inside his frame, or else he'll wander off, and then, oh dear, you've lost the game. If you've got rules 1 and 2, now master number 3. Direct your ball forthwith to the wicket that you see. The wicket is alive, of course, but I bet you could have guessed. When you play croquet the royal way, there is no second best.
When you play croquet the royal way, there is no second best.
So here we have the elements, the wicket, bird, and ball. With all to be mindful of, it's hard to think at all. But do it all you must, and smile. And one more thing, my dear. Allow the queen to win each time. You'll live to play next year.
Allow the queen to win each time and live to play next year.
You could use some practice.
No time, no time. The queen is here.
It's far too warm. Your shirt is wrinkled. Don't smirk at me. Off with her head. I'm tired of walking. The earth should spin in my direction. I'm the queen. Places I want to go should come to me. Stand up straight. Only 3 of you? Stupid grass. Who's responsible? Off with his head. You're all trying my patience. Do what I say or it's off with your head for the lot of you.
Her Majesty the Queen.
Louder, rabbit. Out of my way. Who is that? Idiot! Who are you, child?
I'm Alice, so please, Your Majesty.
And who are these?
How should I know? It's no business of mine.
Impertinent girl. Off with her head!
Nonsense!
Off with her head! Off with her...
Consider, my dear, she's only a child.
Turn them over. Get up.
Your Majesty.
Your Majesty,
Your Majesty.
You make me giddy. What have you been doing here?
May it please Your Majesty, we're trying
I
to...
see. Off with their heads!
My dear, we need them to play croquet with.
These clowns. Do you know how to play croquet?
Yes, Your Majesty.
Properly?
I do.
All right then. Come on, Morans.
It's a very fine day.
Very. Where's the Duke?
Oh, hush. I imagine he's under sentence of execution.
What for?
Did you say what a pity?
No, I said what for. I don't think it's a pity at all.
He boxed the queen's ears. Oh, hush. The queen will hear you. He came rather late, the queen said.
Get to your places!
Now you'll watch a seasoned player in action. See that? Excellent, my dear. 300 points. How many is that in total?
4 million.
You've won another round, my dear.
Of course I have.
What is that? Why, it's the Cheshire Cat. Now I've someone to talk to.
How are you getting along?
I think I'll wait until the entire cat appears. Thank you. Well, I don't think they play at all fairly, and they all quarrel so dreadfully, one can't hear oneself speak. And they don't seem to have any rules in particular, and if they do, no one attends to them. And you've no idea how confusing it is, everything being alive.
How do you like the queen?
Not at all. She's so extremely likely to win, and it's hardly worth finishing the game.
Who are you talking to?
It's a friend of mine, a Cheshire Cat. Allow me to introduce it.
I don't like the look of it at all, but it may kiss my hand if it likes.
I'd rather not.
Don't be impertinent. Don't look at me like that.
A cat may look at a king. I read that in a book, but
Well-
I don't remember where.
Well, I wish to have it removed. My dear, I wish you have this cat removed.
Off with his head!
Executioner. You heard Her Majesty. Off with his head.
Dear, this cat's all head.
So behead him.
I can't very well cut his head off if he's got nothing to cut it off from, can I?
So?
He's got no body to cut it off from.
If there's a head, it can be beheaded. Don't talk nonsense.
I've never cut a head off of a headless body before, and I'm not about to start at this time of my life.
If someone doesn't do something soon, I'll have everyone here executed all around.
I just don't see how I'm supposed
Wait
to.
a moment. I know that voice. I knew it! Thief! Guards! Off with his head! This scoundrel is an enemy of the state. Off with his head!
My dear, we need to have a fair trial. He needs to appear in court.
Fine then, but I don't want to walk all the way back to the palace. Set up court.
hurry up the trial and pass up the refreshments.
The judge, His Holiness, and come, here are the jurors.
What are they writing? The trial hasn't even started yet.
I'll look.
Let us come to order.
They are all writing down their names and fear they will forget them by the end of the trial.
Stupid things.
Stupid things.
Silence in the court. Harold, read the accusation.
The Queen of Hearts, she made some tarts, all on a summer's day. The Knave of Hearts, he stole those tarts and took them quite away.
Consider your verdict.
Guilty.
No, there's evidence to come yet.
If we must, call the first witness.
First witness.
First witness. I beg your pardon, Your Majesty, for bringing these, but I hadn't quite finished my tea when I was sent for.
You ought to have finished. When did you begin?
The 14th of March, I think it was.
15.
16.
Write that down. Take off your hat. You are in court.
It isn't mine.
Stolen.
Stolen. No. I keep in a cell. I have none of my own. I'm a hatter.
Give your evidence and don't be nervous, or I'll have you executed on the spot.
I'm a poor woman, Your Majesty. And what? With the bread and butter getting so thin. And the twinkling of the tea.
The twinkling of what?
It began with tea.
Of course twinkling begins with tea. Do you take me for a dunce?
Twinkling begins with tea.
Go on.
I'm a poor woman, Your Majesty, and most things twinkled after that. Only the March Hare said.
I didn't.
He did it. You did.
He did.
I deny it.
He denies it. Leave out that part.
Leave out that part.
Well, at any rate, the Dormouse said, and then I cut some more bread and butter.
What did the Dormouse say?
That I can't remember.
You ought to remember, or I'll have you executed.
I'm a poor woman, Your Majesty.
If that's all you know, you may stand down.
I can go no lower.
Then you may sit down.
May I finish my tea?
You may go.
And just take your head off outside.
Call the next witness.
Next witness. Next witness.
Give your evidence.
No.
Your Majesty must cross-examine this witness.
If I must, I must. What are tarts made of?
How should I know?
Honey!
Collar that dormouse. Behead that dormouse. Turn that dormouse out of court. Suppress her. Pinch her. Off with her whiskers.
Well, never mind.
Never mind.
Oh, what nonsense this all is.
Call the next witness. Really, my dear, you must cross-examine this next witness. It quite makes my forehead ache.
Alice.
Here.
Yes. Alice.
Alice.
What do you know about this business?
Nothing.
Nothing whatever?
Nothing whatever.
That's very important.
Very important.
Unimportant. Your Majesty means, of course.
Yes, unimportant I meant.
Unimportant.
Important.
Important.
Unimportant.
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 Important.
Important.
Stop this, or your heads will all be off.
Consider your verdict.
Guilty.
No. Not yet. This evidence has just been picked up.
What's in it?
I haven't opened it yet, but it seems to be a letter written by the prisoner to somebody.
It ought to have been written to somebody. Letters aren't usually directed to nobody, you know.
It isn't directed at all. There's no writing on the outside. In fact, it's a set of verses.
Are they in the prisoner's handwriting?
No, they're not, and that's the strangest thing about it.
He must have imitated somebody else's hand.
Please, Your Majesty.
Hold your tongue.
I didn't write it, and they can't prove that I did. There's no name signed at the end.
If you didn't sign it, you must have meant some mischief, or else you've signed it like an honesty man.
That proves his guilt, of course, so...
It proves nothing of the sort. Why, you don't even know what they're about.
Read them.
Very well. 'Twas brillig in the slithy toves, did gyre and gimble in the wabe.
Stop! What on earth are you reading?
I'm sure I don't know, but I've heard this before.
Rabbit, read the verses.
They told me you had been to her, and mentioned me to him. She gave me a good character, but said I could not swim.
That's not what they say. What? The letters are changing. All mimsy were the Borogoves and the mome wraths outgrave. Beware the Jabberwock, my son.
Enough. Rule 42, no inappropriate verses in court.
You just made up that rule.
It's the oldest rule in the book.
Then it should be number 1.
Enough!
Consider your verdict.
Guilty. Sentence first, verdict afterwards.
Stuff and nonsense. Imagine the verdict after the sentence.
Hold your tongue.
I won't.
Off with your head.
Oh, who cares for all of you? You're all just a pack of cards. I'm back. It was just a dream. But 'twas brillig in the slithy toves, stood gyre and gimble in the wave. All mimsy were the Borogoves and the mome wraths outgrave. These verses follow me. Maybe I'm not back. Hello? It's from the other side of the looking glass. But I can't get through. Well, of course, silly Alice, you can't walk through a looking glass. It's just, everything is so strange today. Beware the Jabberwock, my son, the jaws that bite, the claws that catch. Beware the Jub bird and shun, the frumiest bandersnatch. How did I know that would work? I don't think how I used to. Nonsense is becoming commonplace, but if nonsense is how I think, the next question is, who in the world am I becoming? Hello? I'm coming!
Are you helping?
That's what I'm saying.
looks like home, but everything's backwards. Dinah, sweet kitty, Dinah! I'm alone. Oh, Tiger Lily, I wish you could talk.
We can talk, when there's anybody worth talking to.
And can all flowers talk?
As well as you can, and a great deal louder.
It isn't merely for us to begin, you know. I was wondering when you talk, said to myself, her face has got some sense in it, though it's not a clever one. Still, your leaves are the right color, and that goes a long way. I don't care about the color, if only her petals curled up a little more. Then she'd be all right.
Aren't you sometimes worried about being planted here with no one to look after you?
There's a tree in the courtyard. What else is it good for?
But what if any danger came?
It could bark.
It says bow wow. That's why its branches are called bows.
Didn't you know that?
Silence! They know I can't get to them, or they wouldn't dare doing it.
Hush. If you don't hold your tongues, I'll pick you.
That's right. The daisies are the worst of them all. When one speaks, they all begin together. It's enough to make one wither to hear how they go on.
How is it you can all talk so nicely? I've been in many gardens before, but none of the flowers could talk.
Put your hands down on the ground and feel. Then you'll know why.
It's very hard, but I don't see how that has anything to do with it.
In most gardens, the beds are much too soft, so flowers are always asleep.
I never thought of that before.
It's my opinion that you never think at all. I've never seen one that looks stupider.
Hold your tongue, as if you've ever saw anybody at all. All you do is keep your head under the leaves and snore away there until you know no more about the world than if you were a bud.
Are there any other people in the garden besides me?
There's one other flower that can move about like you. I wonder how you do it. But she's bushier than you are.
There's another little girl somewhere in the garden?
Well, she's got the same awkward shape as you, but she's redder, and her petals are shorter, I think.
They're done up close, like a dahlia, not tumbled about like yours.
But that's not your fault. You're beginning to fade, and then one can't help one's petals getting a little untidy.
Do you think I'll see her?
I dare say you'll see her soon. She's the kind that has 9 spikes, you know.
9 spikes, where does she wear them?
Why, all about her head, of course.
I was wondering why you hadn't got some. I thought it was the regular rule.
She's coming. I hear footsteps thump thump along the gravel walk.
I think I'll go and meet her.
You can't possibly do that. I should advise you to walk the other way.
I don't know what you mean by that. Oh, here she is.
Where do you come from? And where are you going? Look up, speak nicely, and don't twiddle your fingers all the time.
I'm afraid I've lost my way.
I don't mean by your way. All the ways about here belong to me. But why do you come out here at all? Curtsy while you're thinking what to say. It saves time. It's time for your answer now. Open a little wider when you speak, and always say, Your Majesty.
I just wanted to see what the garden was like, Your Majesty.
That's right, though when you say garden, I've seen gardens, compared with which you would call this a wilderness.
And I wanted to see if I could make my way to the top of that hill.
You call it a hill, but I've seen hills, compared with which you would call that a valley.
No, I shouldn't. A hill can't be a valley, you know. That would be nonsense.
You may call it nonsense if you like, but I for nonsense, compared with which that would be as sensible as a dictionary.
You mean you can move about, but you've never looked out the top of the hill?
Oh, if only I could.
You really must.
They are right, my dear. Go and take a look.
I declare it's marked out like a large chessboard. And there ought to be some men moving around somewhere. And so there are.
It's a great, huge game of chess that's being played.
All around the world. If this is the world at all, you know.
Oh, how I'd like to join them. I wouldn't mind being a pawn, though I would like to be a queen best.
That's easily managed. You can be the White Queen's pawn, if you like, as Lily's too young to play.
Aww.
You'll start here in the second square to begin with. In the 8th square, you'll be flowers.
Finally.
You're late today.
Oh, that does look rather refreshing, and it is a very hot and dry day today.
I know what you'd like. Have a biscuit? While you're refreshing yourself, I'll just take the measurements. At the end of 2 yards, I shall give you your directions. Have another biscuit?
No, thank you. One's quite enough.
At the end of 3 yards, I shall repeat them, for fear of your forgetting them. At the end of 4, I shall say goodbye, and at the end of 5, I shall go. A pawn goes 2 squares in its first move, you know, so you'll go very quickly through the 3rd square. By railway, I should think, and you'll be in the 4th square in no time. That square belongs to Tweedledum and Tweedledee. The 5th is mostly water, the 6th belongs to Humpty Dumpty. No remark?
I didn't know I had to make one.
You should have said. It's extremely kind of you to tell me all this. However, we'll suppose it said. The 7th square is all forest, however one of the knights will show you the way, and in the 8th square will be queens together, and it's all feasting and fun.
That sounds delightful.
Oh, it is. 3 yards. Upon
you needn't repeat them, Your Majesty. I remember them.
All right then, I shall just tell you this. Speak in French when you can't think of the English for a thing, turn out your toes when you walk, and remember who you are.
Who I am?
That's right. Yard 5, till we meet in the 8th square. Goodbye.
Oh, Your Majesty! Your Majesty! She's disappeared. The 8th square and I shall be a queen. Well, I'm here in the 2nd square, and I must go through the 3rd by railway, I think. Oh, I'm very glad I was in the way of this.
Bread and butter, bread and butter, bread and butter.
Excuse me, am I addressing the White Queen?
Well, if you call that dressing, it isn't my notion of the thing at all.
If Your Majesty would tell me the right way to go about it.
I've been dressing myself for the past 3 hours.
Here, let me put your shawl straight.
I don't know what's the matter with it. I've pinned it here, I've pinned it there, but there's just no pleasing it.
It can't go straight, you know, if you pin it all to one side. Dear me, what a state your hair is in.
The comb has gotten tangled in it, and I lost the brush yesterday.
Come, you look rather better now, but you really should have a lady's maid.
I'm sure I'll take you with pleasure. 2 pence a week and jam every other day.
Oh, I don't want you to hire me, and I don't much care for jam.
It's very good jam.
Well, I don't want any today at any rate.
You couldn't have any today even if you did want it. The rule is jam yesterday and jam tomorrow, but never jam today.
It must come some time to jam today.
No, it really can't. The rule is jam every other day, and today isn't any other day, you know?
I don't understand. It's dreadfully confusing.
That's the effect of living backwards. It always makes one a bit giddy at first.
Living backwards. I've never heard of such a thing.
But there's one great advantage in it, that one's memory works both ways.
I'm sure mine only works one way. I can't remember things before they happen.
It's a poor sort of memory that can only work one way. Ah! Ah!
What's the matter? Have you pricked your finger?
Not yet, but I soon shall. Oh.
When do you expect to do it?
When I fasten my shawl again, I expect the brooch will come undone directly. Oh!
Take care, you're holding it all crooked. Oh! There, now you've done it. You've pricked your finger.
That accounts for the bleeding. You see? Now you understand the way things work around here.
But why don't you scream now?
Why, I've done all the screaming already. What will be the good of having done it all over again? The flowers are falling asleep. It's almost time for the train.
Oh, the train! I must take the train to the 3rd square.
I will wait with you. How old are you?
7.5 exactly.
You needn't say exactually. I can believe it just without that. Now I'll give you something to believe. I'm just 101, 5 months, and 1 day.
I can't believe that.
Can't you? Try again. Take a deep breath and close your eyes.
It's no use. One can't believe impossible things.
I dare say you haven't had much practice. Why, when I was your age, I was believed for about a half hour every day. Why, sometimes I even believed in as many as 6 impossible things just before breakfast. It's almost time, the train's here. Oh dear, do I look all right? Is everything fastened properly? Have I told you everything you need to know? Oh, the 4th square. The 4th square belongs to...
Tweedle something.
Tweedledum and Tweedledee. They will ferry you across the wave.
The what?
The wave. Very swampy and slippery. Oh, there's something else to tell you. Can't quite remember what.
All aboard! Aren't you?
No time, no time. Tickets!
Oh, your ticket, my dear. Oh, dear! Go, my dear. I will see you in the 8th square. Oh, my dear, I've just remembered. Beware the Jabberwocky, my child.
What?
The frumiest bandersnatch. Take care, take care!
But what do you know
No
about...
time!
Oh, you. I suppose you think you're clever.
I suppose you think you are clever.
Not at all.
Contra-wise.
Must you?
Oh, stop.
But, well, on the other hand, once you've given the matter some thought,
I've had time to reconsider.
shall we?
Let's.
Haha, yes.
What a strange train, leaving me off in the middle of the wood like that. Why couldn't I have just ridden it to the 8th square? I'm sure... Oh.
If you think we're waxworks, you ought to pay, you know. Waxworks weren't made to be looked at for nothing, no how?
Contra-wise, if you think we're alive, you ought to speak.
I'm sure I'm very sorry. It was just you were both so still.
How is that a crime?
More people should be still.
Your callers, D and Dum. Oh, Tweedledee and Tweedledum, I presume.
Indeed, the same.
And this must be the 4th square, and I understand you can help me across the 5th?
The 5th?
Nasty place.
Your names. I've heard them before, in a rhyme.
Oh, brother. Yes?
Tweedledum said Tweedledee had spoiled his nice new rattle. Just then flew down a monstrous crow as black as a tar barrel, which frightened both the heroes so they quite forgot the quarrel.
I have forgotten about my rattle.
Just then flew down a monstrous crow, which frightened both the heroes so they quite forgot their quarrel.
I had forgotten about my rattle. I know what you're thinking about, but it isn't so, no how.
Contra-wise, if it was so, it would be, and if it were so, it should be, but as it isn't, it ain't. That's logic.
I was thinking, what's the best way out of this wood? It's getting so dark. Would you tell me, please? Are there any lions and tigers around here?
Oh, that's just the Red King snoring. Come and look at him.
Isn't he a lovely sight?
I'm afraid I'll catch a cold with lying on damp grass like this.
He's dreaming now. What do you think he's dreaming about?
Well, no one could guess that.
What about you? And if he lets off dreaming about you, where do you think you'd be?
Where I am now, of course.
No, not you.
You'd be nowhere.
Why? You're only sort of thing in his dream.
If that king was to wake, you go out.
Bang!
Just like a candle.
I shouldn't. Besides, if I'm only a sort of thing in his dream, what are you? I should like to know.
Ditto, ditto, ditto,
ditto, ditto, ditto.
Shh! You'll be waking him. I'm afraid if you're so loud.
Well, it's no use you're talking about waking him when you're only one of the things in his dream.
I am not.
Balderdash.
I'm not a dream. I'm not.
Hush now. You know very well you're not real.
I am real.
I hope you don't suppose those are real tears.
I know they're talking nonsense and it's foolish of me to listen. I'm real. I think. At any rate, I really should be getting out of this wood, for it's really coming on very dark. Do you think it will rain?
It may, if it chooses.
We've no objection, contra-wise.
Oh dear. Getting dark and starting to rain. We really should get to the 5th square.
The 5th? Nasty place.
Yes, I know, but how can I...
Impossible. There is no way. Absolutely not. Well, there is the boat. The ferry. The boat. The ferry. The boat. The ferry. We will ferry her across the swamp. We can't boat anyone across anything. We can still ferry her in a boat. Nonsense.
Oh, come on, let's go.
Fine then, into the ferry, my dear. I hope you enjoy your time on our boat.
How miserable. I can't see anything.
Do you like poetry?
Some poetry, I suppose.
Recite for her.
I was just about to.
Oh, you needn't trouble yourself.
No trouble at all. We can recite together. Let's. 'Twas Brillig and the slithy toves did gyre and gimble in the wave.
Not again.
All mimsy were the borogoves and the mouse rats outgrave.
Why is this following me?
Beware of the Jabberwock, my son.
The jaws that bite, the claws that catch.
Enough! What does that mean?
If you would please stop interrupting our poem.
Really, it's very rude.
Everywhere I go, I hear that.
Jabberwocky, it's a popular standard.
Very popular, very standard.
Is that what it's called? Jabberwocky?
What is that?
What? What?
It's my rattle.
It's only a rattle, not a rattlesnake. Only an old rattle, quite old and quite broken.
I knew it was. It's spoilt, of course.
You needn't get so angry about an old rattle.
But it isn't old. It's new, I tell you. I bought it yesterday, my nice new rattle.
Nonsense, spoiled fool.
Of course you agree to have a battle.
Indeed, only she must help us get ready, you know.
Here in the boat?
I hope you're a good hand at tying and pinning strings.
Every one of these has to go on somehow or other.
Really, you'll be more like a pile of old clothes than anything else by the end.
A battle, then?
Indeed.
Do I look very pale?
Well, yes, a little.
I'm very brave, generally. Only today I happen to have a headache.
And I've got a toothache. I'm far worse than you.
Then you'd better not fight today.
We must have a bit of a battle, but I don't care about going on long. What's the time now?
4:30.
We'll fight till 6 and then have dinner.
Very well. Only you'd better watch out. I generally hit everything I see when I get really excited.
And I hit everything within reach, whether I can see it or not.
Take it!
Oh dear, do be careful, you'll rock the boat. Oh, we're about to land. Oh! Are you okay? What is that? Clouds are clearing. I wonder what square I've got to. Perhaps I'll ask. Oh! It can't be anyone else and how exactly like an egg he is.
It's very provoking when you call him an egg. Very.
I said you looked like an egg, sir. And some eggs are very pretty.
Some people have no more sense than a baby.
How easily offended everyone is here. But I know you from the poem. Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty Dumpty back in his place again. That last line is much too long for the poem.
Stop standing there chattering to yourself like that. Tell me your name and your business.
My name is Alice, but...
It's a stupid name enough. What does it mean?
Must a name mean something?
Of course it must. My name means the shape I am, and a good handsome shape it is too. With a name like yours, you could be almost any shape.
Why do you sit out here all alone?
Why? Because there's nobody with me. Did you think I didn't know the answer to that? What tremendously easy riddles you ask? Ask another.
Don't you think you'd be safer down here on the ground? That wall is very narrow.
Of course not. Why, if I ever did fall, which would never happen, mind you, but if I ever did fall, which would absolutely not happen, the White King and Queen have promised me with their very own mouths to
send all of their horses and all of their men.
You've been listening behind doors, and from around trees, and down chimneys, or you couldn't have known it.
I haven't indeed. It's in a book.
Well, they may write such things about me, but take a good look at me. I'm the one that's shaking hands with the king I am, and to show you I'm not proud, you may shake hands with me.
What a beautiful belt you've got on. I mean, a beautiful cravat, I should have said. No, a belt? Pardon me, if only I could tell the difference between neck and waist.
It's the most provoking thing when a person doesn't know cravat from a belt.
I know. It's very, very ignorant of me.
It's a cravat, child, and a beautiful one, as you say. The White King and Queen gave it to me for an unbirthday present.
What's an unbirthday present?
Why, it's a present given when it isn't your birthday, of course.
I like birthday presents best.
You don't know what you're talking about. How many days are there in a year?
365.
And how many birthdays have you?
1.
Take away 1 from 365, what remains?
364.
Exactly. There's glory for you, you know.
I don't know what you mean by glory.
Of course you don't, until I tell you. What I meant was, there's a nice knockdown argument for you.
But glory doesn't mean a nice knockdown argument.
When I use a word, it means exactly what I choose it to mean, neither more nor less.
The question is whether you can make words mean so many different things.
The question is, which is to be mastered. That's all.
You seem very clever about words, sir. Would you tell me, please, the meaning behind this poem called Jabberwocky?
Let's hear it. I can explain a good many poems that have been invented, and a good many that haven't been invented quite yet.
'Twas brillig in the slithy toves, did gyre and gimble in the wave, while mimsy were the borogoves in the mome rath's out grave. Beware the Jabberwock, my son.
That's enough to begin with. Brillig means 4 o'clock in the afternoon, the time in which you begin broiling things for dinner.
That'll do very well. In slithy?
Well, slithy is a cross between lithe and slimy at once. Then toads are something like badgers, there's something like lizards, and there's something like corkscrews.
They must be very curious-looking creatures.
They are that. They also live on cheese. Very few people know that, though. You know, I can repeat poetry as well as other folks, if it comes to that.
Oh, it needn't come to that. Now, this is important. What exactly is a Jabberwock?
Not yet, but I'm inventing a way to keep it from falling off. Would you like to hear it?
Very much.
First, you take an upright stick. Then, you make a hair creep up it, like a fruit tree. Now you see, the reason hair falls off is because it hangs. down. Things never fall upwards, you know. It's a plan of my own invention. You may try it if you like. I'm a great hand at inventing things. In fact, I was inventing a new way of getting over a gate when I came upon you. Would you like to hear it?
Very much indeed.
I'll tell you how I came to think of it. You see, I said to myself, the only difficulty is with the feet. The head's high enough already. So first, I put my head on top of the gate, then the head's high enough. Then I stand on my head, and then the feet are high enough. And then I'm over, you see?
Yes, I suppose you'd be over and that was all done, but don't you think it'd be rather hard?
I haven't tried it yet, so I can't say for certain, but I'm afraid it would be a little hard.
Is this helmet an invention of yours too?
Yes, another invention. It's very well to keep my head protected, when pointed down so often like so.
How do you go about talking so quietly, head downwards?
What does it matter what my body happens to be? My mind goes on working all the same. In fact, the more head downwards I am, the more I keep inventing new things.
That noise. Everywhere I go, I can't remember who I am after.
I often feel that too. That is why one needs to invent all the time. Constantly invent yourself. You're sad. Let me tell you a story to comfort you.
Is it very long?
It's long, but it's very, very, very beautiful. In fact, everyone that hears me say it either brings the tears to their eyes or else.
Or else what?
Or else it doesn't, you know. It's my own. The name of the story is called Haddock's Eye.
Oh, that's the name of the story, is it?
No, you don't understand. That's what the name is called. The name really is The Aged Man.
Oh, then I ought to have said that's what the story is called.
No, you oughtn't. That's quite another thing. The story really is called Ways and Means. But that's only what it's called, you know.
What is the story?
I was getting to that. The story really is a sitting on a gate, and it's my own invention. I'll tell you everything I can. There's little to relate. I saw an aged man a-sitting on a gate. Who are you, aged man, I said, and how is it you live? And his answer trickled through my brain like water through a sieve. He said, I look for butterflies that sleep among the wheat. I make them into mutton pies and sell them in the street. And now if e'er by chance I stick my finger into glue, or madly squeeze a right hand foot into a left hand shoe, or if I drop upon my toe a very heavy weight, I weep, for it reminds me so of that old man I used to know, whose look was mild, whose speech was slow, whose hair was whiter than the snow, whose face was very like a crow, with eyes like cinders all aglow, who muttered mumbling as low, as if his mouth were full of dough, who snorted like a buffalo that summer evening long ago, a-sitting on a gate. Now, you've only a few yards to go, down that hill and over the little brook, and then you should be queen. But you'll stay and see me off first? I shan't be long. You'll wait and wave this handkerchief when I get to that part of the road. It'll encourage me, you see.
Of course, and thank you very much for coming so far, and for the story. I liked it very much.
I hoped you would, but you didn't cry as much as I thought you would. Remember the handkerchief?
One, two, and through. The vorpal blade went snicker-snack, he left it dead, and with his head he went glumping back. Oh, the handkerchief. I hope it encouraged her. The 8th square.
Here you are.
A queen now.
I am a queen.
I invite you to Alice's dinner party this afternoon.
And I invite you.
I didn't know I was to have a party, but if I am, I think I ought to be the one inviting the guests.
We gave you the opportunity of doing it, but I dare say you haven't had any lessons in manners yet.
Be kind. She's only just got her crown. I'm so sleepy.
tired, poor thing. Smooth her hair, lend her your nightcap, and tell her a soothing story.
I'm afraid I don't have a nightcap and I don't know any soothing stories.
Guess I'll have to do it myself then. Hush by a lady in Alice's lap. Till the feast's ready, we've time for a nap. When the feast's over, we'll go to the ball. Red Queen and White Queen and Alice and all. Now repeat it through back to me. I'm getting sleepy too.
Oh dear, I don't think anyone has had to deal with this before. 2 asleep queens. Oh, do wake up, you heavy things! I am a queen. I am a queen in a dream. I am a dream. I am... Who am I? Alice. I'm Alice. A dream. It was only a dream.